Vero Beach Recreation Commission meeting Tuesday, November 13th. By call to order, call the roll. Please read.
Mr. McMillan? Mr. Holton?
Here.
Mrs. Malone? Mrs. Burdick? Here. Ms. Jones? Mrs. Deneno?
Present.
Chairman Yem.
Here. All right, approval of minutes, September 11th, 2018. Any suggestions?
I move we accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Public comment? You're going to save your remarks, Robbie?
Observe.
All right, new business, none. Old business, Parks and Recreation Master Plan by outside consultant. You say you have the answer to that, Rob.
I have some. I'm going to go with my stuff, and then I'm going to move on to, after speaking with Jim, I know who couldn't make it today, or Monty, who couldn't make it today, their recommendations. First, I want to just start with our stuff. Going through the playground, I just want to talk about what we're doing from the recreation side, and then move on to their input for the future. And I realize that a master plan is far greater than what I'm about to mention, but I'm going to go into just doing our stuff of what we're thinking for the future with this group real quick. Playgrounds, just to let you know, our playground future looks like it's going to be covered through private funding. And that should be our future. That's how we see our future going forward.
Why do you say that?
Because we've found enough contributions from foundation support that help pay for all that stuff
Is that
as we move
for
along.
new capital, or is that for maintaining?
Yes, that's for new capital. Yep.
Is it the same group that started years ago doing one at a time?
No, Go Play Vero did a wonderful job of helping out, and then we've had the Whitaker Trust, which is now we're able to year by year use the monies earned off of interest from those to pay for the different facilities as we move along. In fact, we have the funding from that going forward for Royal Palm Point work this year and Troy Moody Playground for next year, just to let you know.
What are you going to do at Royal Palm Point?
Royal Palm Point's is going to get fixed up. Capital improvements will include some work like on the building and on possibly paying for some fencing, things like that.
Do you want us to question as you go through it, or just
let me roll through and then we'll come back? Sure.
Okay.
The parks, just to let you know, the biggest thing with parks that we see with our group is the Charles Park addition. You know, each year, we pretty much every year in the 5-year plan know that we have a 4-acre piece at Charles Park, and we will want to eventually get that work done on that.
Engineering has been submitted though, right?
Yes.
Request.
Yeah, they're going to have to, because a lot of, you have to have all the permits and everything else that comes with that.
But that's in your 5-year plan already.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's right. Although I think it was taken out. So we will put it back in for next year's budget. The other two pieces of property, of course, that have been discussed heavily, and one of them is going to be discussed sooner than the second one, is Dodgertown, which they've already gone through. And again, our thing right now is we're going to let the community and everyone else drive that along with the property over at the power plant. We see those as, that's got to be the community driven as far as I'm concerned, and then let you guys in the council be the ones that help make that happen. Of course, one of the big things that we've seen right now is future goal has it that we're trying to generate more revenue to pay for ourselves. As a recreation department, that's a pretty difficult thing to do, especially when over half of your clientele probably are on free reduced lunch, and you have a situation where we try to provide recreation for those who otherwise might not be able to do it. But it is our goal as we move along to try and find things to help offset those. And what we have found is that a couple things moving forward to help make that happen is naming rights. Stephanie has put together a nice draft, and we're moving it along to the different departments, and then eventually we're hoping to get the city council to approve it. But like I mentioned to Stephanie, I think we have 3 people right now that are very interested in the possibility of naming rights. And I've already approached 3 different groups, facilities.
Okay.
The other thing that we have put in to try and raise funds with, which has become a little bit more, and we mentioned it to council, and it was something that they had brought back to us and said, you know, we're going to have to monitor this, or the pavilions, charging for pavilions, the small pavilions, the covered pavilions, and Royal Palm Point Fountain. And right now, the pavilions, we put a sign out late in October on that, and we're getting a lot of feedback from the public. So, not sure how long that's going to last, if we're going to do that, but we're going to continue until we're told not to. So that's us. Now, talking to Jim and Monty, one of the things they wanted to make sure to get clear, and this is something I'm going to bring back to you guys, is your ideas. They would like to know what your ideas are before they come to talk about the future. They'd like to hear from you guys what you guys want and would like to see.
We've given ideas before, and
every year is a new one. So my thing is I think putting it down on paper and then being able to get it to them, I think would be helpful.
Well, so we've never defined what a master plan would, you know, encompass.
Correct. And I think that would be very important from your end, and I think that's what they're looking for.
Well, it's important for everybody, because when you come back to council,
That's
and
correct.
go to an RFP, if you're going to use an outside consultant.
That's right.
You know, it helps if we can narrow the scope of what we expect of the consultant.
Right.
And that's part of what today's discussion was supposed to be about.
And one of the things that was brought up would be that the idea of maybe having the community come out for a workshop of giving all their opinions of what they would like to see as part of the master plan for Parks and Recreation.
You're talking about a pre-master plan.
That's right. That's right. Speak up. This isn't just my conversation.
oh, I thought you wanted him to finish before.
Well,
I am. I mean, it
you're
really
finished.
is. That's really what it's about. It's more about, I think the idea and what they're getting to is maybe the idea of having like a workshop where we can have a like Dick said, a master plan, so that we can hear from you guys and the public of what they would like to see in the master, if we have a master plan idea, and then submit that to Monty and Jim and let them come and see if we can refine it.
Well, the suggestion, a recommendation for a master plan came from council members as well as, you know, some...
The public, some significant people in the public.
Exactly.
Absolutely, especially at council
But nobody
meetings.
defined what they were looking for in the master plan. You know, it's just a generalization right now. So I think what came back to this commission was to set up parameters to come back to council. And that's why the input of Jim, Monty, and
Yeah,
new
it's going to
planning,
be Jason is the new planning director.
you know, based on their experience going forward, because I don't know if we don't have the experience, to my knowledge.
I mean, we have ideas,
Well,
but
that, I think it's important, and I think it would be important to have the ideas come in a pre-meeting before we even have them come. I mean, that's my opinion.
All right, so we need to have a public workshop, is what you're saying.
I think that's what I was hearing this morning, was I think a public workshop would be a great idea, just to have the public come and let them speak on what they would want included in a master plan. We know that a master plan is going to take the work of the city manager and planning and the attorney's office and
Well, everybody.
public works, absolutely.
are
But
we
I also,
talking about including Dodgertown and the power plant property?
I would include everything.
I mean, because we really don't know what their plan is for those properties.
I would allow the public just to come out and speak on all facilities that are recreation and parks. I know that plenty of them have opinions.
Came out. I think they're all fried with it. You know, we ran them out before when we were talking about the three corners over there. They had the vision plan. It's like, what do you want us to do? We tell you, nothing ever happens. Why do you want us to tell you again? Just
Well,
saying.
you know, we came up, the list of recommendations and everything like that. 2 years later, it was totally disregarded.
Well-
So, Sue's got a good point. That, I mean, we can come in and build a recommendation. Very honestly, I think once council sees the cost of bringing in an outside consultant, you're really going to hit some walls, because, just for background, Rob and I went to, I think maybe I've said this before.
Yeah, in Sebastian, it's $100,000.
Yeah, they were trying to do a master plan.
We could fix a lot of our problems with that much money.
Yeah, so I mean, when you start weighing it, where are you going to spend the money? You're going to spend it on fixing the facilities, or you're going to spend it on a consultant that comes in with great ideas that you don't have any money to implement? So that's why weighing this thing going forward, I mean, personally, I don't think council's in a position to draw money to pay for that. I think as a commission group, I'm speaking for myself, but the money would be better spent on improving some facilities. I mean, especially you can start at Leisure Square, all of them could use that money. So are we spinning wheels, I guess is a question.
Yeah, and you got the holidays coming up. Nobody's going to have time to do anything between now and the new year. And it's going to be the new year before you get your city council sorted out. So, I mean, we can sit down and write something out. Maybe we could submit a list of things that we should talk about later to Rita, and discuss those at a future meeting. But I don't think you're going to get the community to come out anytime soon.
Well, I think you need to try to get the community, at least.
Not between now and the holidays,
Well, after, I mean, we don't have to do anything till January.
It's like the parking on Ocean Drive. They come out and they come out and they come out. That poor little lady from Twig's been here 800 times, and nothing ever happens. I think they're
right.
I think they're pretty fried with it.
Well, that's why I don't want us to spend a lot of time spinning wheels here. Let's come up with a plan of where we want to go, how we want to address it, and move it forward, move it to council, and let them, figure out what they want to do. But I said the realization to me is when you look at the cost of bringing in a consultant, I think you're going to have a hard time justifying it.
Okay, so you spend $100,000 bringing in a consultant, and then he's going to tell you, okay, these are the things we think you should do to make parks and recs more successful and maybe even profitable, but then there's no money to do those things. So, and then you're wishing I'd had that $100,000 back so I could do those things.
I mean, right now, it looks like you're basically on your own in getting money for your...
Operation, even.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you could start your own rec department.
All right, I'll tell you what, to move this along, this is my recommendation, is that following Sue's suggestion is set up a public workshop January or February. I mean, you guys make up your mind what you want. Have the public workshop, then we have the next meeting will involve city staff, where we will formulate a recommendation to council.
After the public workshop, right?
Yeah, there'll be a meeting of staff and the commission.
Before the workshop?
After.
After, right.
After we get the, public recommendations.
Right.
Okay? So we incorporate what the public recommendations are, what staff recommendations, with
Put it
our
all together.
recommendations.
Right.
And then, let Rita write it up and we submit it to council. Is that workable?
Yep.
It gives us
Sounds
time
good.
It does.
to advertise. There's going to be a public workshop, maybe, do some Facebook trolling. Somebody will generate some interest. Maybe we'll actually get some people out for one.
Well, we had a good crowd for the
I think you're gonna have a
workshop
crowd
we
for
had.
that.
We had a real good crowd.
Yeah, when we're doing power plant properties.
But that was a combined effort with us and the marina, and now
Right.
the marina's kind of off the table. Maybe.
We've had good
Not sure
turnouts. I
about
mean,
that.
even when we did the swimming pool at Leisure Square, the place was full.
Right.
It just depends what the topic is.
And with those,
That can be listed right in of whether the public wants to come out and speak about everything that's parks and recreation. And you have a full list of them all.
All right, so if we go with the steps that I suggested, is everybody in agreement to do that?
you know what, but it'd be nice if council actually attended. Otherwise, they're going to read it in a report and so what?
Now,
Maybe they're not.
my thing is that, most council will watch the meeting or have the minutes from the meeting.
Well, also,
It's not the same.
once we have a suggestion that we can go to the next council meeting
Sure.
and, present it in writing and elaborate on it if they have any questions.
Sure.
But that way, our part of the master plan has been completed. That's all I'm trying to do. Then it's up to them where they want to act.
That's right.
So, again, without getting into motions and everything, everybody would just do this as an informal agreement, that's the process
I agree.
that we want to adopt. Okay, anybody disagree? All right, moving on. Let's go to your Recreation Director's matters.
I'll let Patty talk about all of them.
All right. So the gymnastics mini session was pretty popular. I would recommend that we probably do that again if we need to, like what happened this year with the Christmas drama being so late in December. But our last gymnastics registration, which was November 3rd, we filled up within 45 minutes, every single class full. So we took a waiting list. We tried to accommodate actually we did end up accommodating everybody by adding a class or shifting things around. So we are at capacity right now. And it was
You want to expand a little bit on your program? I don't know how much Mr. Brackett is aware of the program.
knows quite a bit. I think his nieces grew up in the
I
program.
know his nieces did, yeah.
So we're still oh, awesome. So we're still
Oh,
going
gosh.
strong with the aerial antics program and the circus and the Christmas drama, which is coming up December 20th and 21st. That was what our last registration was for. Like I said, we are full, ages 0 to, I think our oldest right now is 26.
Wow.
And it's just an amazing program, and if you haven't come to one of our shows, you really, really should, and thank you if you have.
What's the percentage, city, county?
60/40.
That's
County?
60 county, 40 city.
Yeah.
in the county, they definitely pay more to come.
Yeah.
And then Rob gets a ton of scholarship requests as well, so we like to
Is
accommodate.
it breaking even yet? Close?
Well, just to mention what Rob had already stated, we are here for the kids that can't afford
No, I
the
understand
Christies.
that. I
and
just asked,
So we do our best to make it affordable to everybody, but still have a quality program.
that wasn't my question.
I'm just saying.
Is it paying for itself? I would say that if you're not including the staff itself and knowing you're going to pay the staff, no. Or yes, it is. But if you're including the staff with all the other activities that you do, then I would tell you it doesn't. But I will tell you the rate of return is better than the average that we've ever seen, by far. By far.
Okay.
When we did our study, we found that the revenue return percentage on your average, when we did the 8 other cities, the average revenue return percentage was about 31 or 32%. We're at 40, and they're at probably, from the gymnastics, probably 50, 55% revenue return percentage.
So if we were to find space to expand the program, because obviously demand
Is there,
exceeds availability.
as a long-term goal, again, that's something to talk about. That would be great if we can get that.
We haven't given up on the big blue building at the corner.
We haven't. It's, it's hot, and then it's cold, and then it's hot, and it's cold, and it's hot and cold, and until we find out what happens with the power, the whole power thing, I think it's gonna be neutral, net neutral, because there's a bunch of stuff stored there right now that is still being utilized for the current power plant.
Well,
Now we
FPNL,
call it net neutral.
but FPNL has expressed an interest in taking over that building, right?
The which one?
The warehouse.
The warehouse, yes, but not that building.
And that's a big building. You
Yeah.
could do a lot of tumbling in there.
We're net neutral, so
Until you get closure.
that's correct, until you get closure, which could be soon. We'll just have to kind of wait and see.
Have they started building the substation?
I don't know that. I don't know that.
I mean, they haven't transferred the property or any of that yet.
No, I don't think so. I don't think you want to do that
So
yet.
you're waiting for closure.
I know that they're in a transition, and I know that they're working together with the T&D group. I just don't know to what extent or how far along they are. That's, I guess, my best answer.
Well, again, we go back to closure.
Exactly.
Everything's on
And
hold.
I know that, you're trying to look at by the end of this year of having that worked out.
Okay, one other question. The facility at Dodgertown, has that been emptied out, or what's the status of that building?
We are, right now, the facility has been,
Is Tammy in it
It's
still?
not empty.
Tammy's not going to be in it. It's not, it's been.
not empty.
It's not empty.
Cleaned.
It's been cleaned out some, and a lot of the stuff is stored at
So
another.
you guys are still using it?
We're still utilizing that facility.
You don't have any place to go?
We don't have a choice.
We're working on
really.
it.
Is that the warehouse or the clubhouse?
That's the clubhouse.
Clubhouse?
We're still working on it.
Waiting for closure?
That's right, if there's going to be closure there. And again, that Dodgertown is out there. I mean, there's a number of items that are hot right now. I mean, everywhere, everything from the Dodgertown to the, marina discussions out there. I know the post office discussions out there. We know that the power plant stuff is still out there. I mean, these are all things that are just out there. So I consider them all the bottle floating in the ocean with the note in it, and it's either going to wash up or not. We'll just have to wait and see. I think some will be washing up soon.
Let's hope so.
Yes.
Halloween parade.
That was held on October 27th. Downtown, we had, I don't even know the number.
I'd say about 500 to 600 people total participate.
Yeah.
I will say thank you to everybody who volunteered and helped us out there. Very creative group of people. Very creative. A lot of neat costumes this year, especially the group ones were outstanding.
Yes, they were crazy.
Very, very creative. So I have to say,
And I talked to some of those, and they weren't going anywhere else. That was it.
Yeah.
They did it just for that parade.
Yep.
yep. And they're going to, a lot of them mentioned they'll be back next year. And next year's is going to be a giant one, because that's the one that's going to be tied in with the Centennial.
Centennial.
And that's the closing day of the Centennial.
Oh.
That is the actual Centennial celebration event that day. So that parade is going to be a monster.
Good.
So you want to judge?
Trying to get that out so quick. It's like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
thanks, Bobby, for helping us out with
Yes,
that.
thank you. And then I already mentioned the Christmas drama will be December 20th and 21st.
At 6
6 p.m. both evenings. It's a Thursday night and a Friday night. and it's held at the high school Performing Arts Center. And love to see you guys there.
All right, thank you. Chairman's matter is going back. We need to set a date for the workshop we talked about. So suggestions? So we can get it on the calendar and start working on it.
Do you have to have it in addition to our meeting, or do you want it at our meeting?
It could be,
Well,
I mean, because
No.
getting this room sometime is
Well,
not.
I don't think we should do it at this. I think it should be later when people that are working can come.
Yeah,
Don't you think?
yeah.
An evening meeting? 6-ish or something?
yeah, and we'll probably cancel our regular meeting, depending on, if something comes up, but the way things have been going, there's not a lot of issues.
Anything-
Could we do this meeting later? Does it have to be in addition to this meeting?
I
Can we
think
do this meeting
I'll let
later?
Rita
Yes.
talk about
We
that
can
one.
set the time.
What,
I
yes,
can
Rita, what's
check with Tammy,
available?
make sure
Check
she's
with
okay
Tammy
with that,
and-
but.
I mean, we could do it on our normal rotation
Like the second
in
Tuesday.
January,
Yeah, your
At
second
6.
Tuesday in January
You want to do it in January or February?
or February.
either one.
Well, the second Tuesday in January.
Second Tuesday in January
At
is
6.
the 8th. and The
Right.
second Tuesday in February is the 12th. Maybe let Rita check and
All right, but that gives us an idea. So we're looking for 6 o'clock, January 12th.
Yeah, whenever the room's available.
Okay, I'll check it and notify you.
Okay. Everybody agrees on that, then members' matters. You have any suggestions, complaints? Bobby?
Got nothing?
Greg?
I got lots.
Good.
I'll start with the Facebook stuff. There's a lot of complaining on Facebook in general, not your page, I never see your page, about litter on the beach. Lack of signage saying do not litter on the beach, and the lack of enforcement to make people pick up their mess. A lot of complaining the last couple weeks.
Is there an ordinance on that?
I don't know.
there is.
Is there a sign over there that says
I don't
pick
know
up your
about a
stuff?
sign, but I know there's
Yeah.
an ordinance against it.
Yeah, somebody said that. There's not even a sign to pick up your mess. And
You
people,
would-
people do that every day. They walk up and down the beach picking up other people's trash. And somebody said something to somebody as they were leaving, like, why don't you take your crap with you? And they were met with,
The one thing I will say is that I would bet that the large signs that are out at each of the beaches say, please do not litter. However, there's not going to be signs, I know there's probably not signs at every crosswalk that goes on to those different beaches, specifically like JC Beach with the Con Boardwalk, South Beach, or even Humiston. I can't see, other than maybe the
you
main
wouldn't have
sign.
to give too many people a citation for word to get out.
Yeah, I think the key thing is enforcement. Your lifeguards cannot enforce that. They can go up to people and say, please don't litter, but they better be busy looking at the people in the water. So it kind of gets challenging. I can get with Public Works and Engineering
Yeah,
with the
just bring
see if
it up.
there's anything, but we'll check and see what kind of signs are out there.
Okay, the other thing on Facebook the last week has been this hysteria on the dog park Facebook page about the potential loss of some of the dog park property to the marina. It's
think
supposed to
that's all
be,
just-
there's supposed to be some sort of a planning meeting coming up. I couldn't figure out from the posting, it was be there at the next meeting when they bring it up. I don't know if they're talking about city council or,
I think you're just reading something on
it's just
Facebook.
rumor.
Yeah.
well, it's usually rooted in something. I mean, they are talking to people about taking over the marina, and certainly they're going to have ideas for,
I don't know if that
Improvement.
property is included.
well, that's one of the things city council's been talking about.
They talk about leasing it, is that what you mean?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and they're going to want to make improvements so that they have some
But they
opportunity
did
to
an
make more money.
Didn't they do an RFP on that?
I think so.
So you're talking about the dog park?
Specifically,
Dog
stirring the
parking area.
pot is John Wester, so that might be someplace you could ask.
Well, what I'm going to do is, I'll write a note to Jim and see if there's
Jim
any.
chimed in as well. Jim, which Jim you talking
Jim
about?
O'Connor.
Oh, I was talking about the other Jim.
Yeah, and see if there's any
Jim Wells.
truth to that rumor of the dog park even being discussed. My guess, I'm not going to answer for it, but I'm guessing no. But
Well, I told him that I would bring it up, so I have
you
brought
got
it
it.
up.
I'll make sure to get that to Jim, and I'll make sure you get a CC
Okay.
on the response.
All right.
And that way you can plug it in.
I think I talked to you last month about the new mural we're going to do over at, the water treatment facility? Did I bring that
I
up?
know that you were getting with Rob Bolton. You did.
We did, and that's going to get moved out to like after Under the Oaks, because it turns out they want something much more,
Is it a
work.
wall like the one?
they want something much more like
the
what
one
you
like
got.
Riverside?
Riverside. No, more like the one in the community center.
Ooh.
They want something with a lot of
Wow.
detail, covering very specific
God.
ecosystems.
That
and
took, what, 8 months, 9 months
a
for,
long time, almost a year.
and that was 4 people, I think.
There were always a bunch of people in there.
Yeah, so
that's
anyway,
incredible.
that's going to get moved out till after Under the Oaks. And speaking of Under the Oaks, my last point is yesterday we had our first planning meeting of the season, and Alicia brought up the new permit cost. And one of the things she was defensive about the increase, because she felt like that's good as long as some of that money goes back into improving the park, into being able to do, and I said, I don't know if that's the plan, because I think we're just trying to stay afloat. We're trying to make the rec department profitable so they don't pull the rug out from under us.
Help pay for itself. Well, and again, my thing is it all is part of the general fund. So, to be honest with you, that money as all part of the general fund, because Parks is part of the general fund,
Right.
will help with that.
One of the things they complained about specifically was, and always is, the cleaning of the ladies' bathroom, the real bathroom, not the portalettes, because it turns out that women put up a lot of resistance to closing the bathroom even long enough to clean it. So we have to find a system of handling that, because it gets to be a real mess.
Now, is it after a day's activities, during the day's activities?
Yeah, the facility's always a mess by midday. And
So you might need
usually
to
out of paper products.
clean
We need somebody there are people who refuse to work that shift because they don't want to have to deal with the women at the women's bathroom. There are city
And you
people.
guys get porta potties for that event, yes?
We do, lots of them.
So you're really kind of looking for a park attendant to go in there twice a day.
It would be nice. And not be afraid to tell the women, nope, I'm going to lock this door for 2 minutes and then you can have it back.
Oh.
Because evidently,
They won't let them in there?
yep, they won't let them close it. That's the problem. And the guy, if it's a guy, it's a problem. If you could send a woman over there, then she could get in and mingle, but the guy won't do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if there are any. Okay.
So who maintains the porta potties?
The Portalette Company.
The porta potties,
And they just do it once a day?
Do they even do it more than?
Oh, yeah, they do.
They do it every day?
Yeah, but we've got
But-
washing stations and everything.
But it's once a day?
I think they just come at the end of the day unless we call them and say, hey, you're out of product.
Yeah, but is your volume big enough that it needs to
Oh,
be
gosh.
serviced?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So can you put that in your contract?
Yeah, well, they'll deal with him. They'll deal with them. It's these guys that we're in.
They gotta let them in now.
No, that's the problem. You need to send a chick. Patty?
Don't look at me.
I gotta make sure I'm not around that weekend.
I've had bathroom
Okay.
duty before.
Really,
Yeah, we've done bathroom duty.
one of the guys on the committee says he used to work in that department. He said, I flatly refuse to work that weekend because I don't want to have to deal with those women.
This is good to know, all right?
But they're the first to complain.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
They'll park it in twice a day, and they have to be able to, so what we'll have to do is maybe have them walk up to you guys and say, okay, you guys go up there, and,
Alicia said she was willing to do that.
well, she would be strong
She
enough.
would be strong enough to do it, yep, and I think she will probably mention this to you at the planning
Okay.
before. That's all I have.
Oh, that's not too bad.
All right, anybody else?
No.
Then thank all of you for attending for what was supposed to be a short meeting. It actually lasted pretty good 40 minutes. And thank you, Robbie, for coming.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and keep coming. Thank you.
Hopefully you got some inside now. You can see we go actually beyond just recreation.
Can't you just transfer Nanette for the weekend?
She
could do it.
Yeah, she'll
She
do
could do it. But don't tell her I said that.
Oh, I'm gonna tell her you said that.
She's watching.
Game.
That was my stop.
All right, thank you all. Meeting adjourned.